letting us take care of her tonight." Dash laughed, as if we were going to leave you to sleep at the gate. "Not only isn't it safe, but miserably uncomfortable." I pursed my lips. I can't even count the number of times I've had to do that. With my job, I practically live in airports. Dash crossed his arms over his broad chest, stretching the fabric of his thermal long-sleeve shirt. Jackson's hand settled on my shoulders, and he leaned in from behind me, kissed right behind my ear. I shivered, and not from being cold. "And the number of times you've gone off to share a room with 2 men?" I heard the hint of anger, but it wasn't directed at me. It was his possessiveness showing. I hadn't seen him in years, and all of a sudden he was all alpha male. Well, not all of a sudden. I had heard they were both veterinarians and ran their own animal clinic in town. They were smart and gorgeous. I remembered him that way when we were in high school. But they were older now. Dash took it, possessiveness, to a whole new level, and that level made my clit throb. "You're not just 2 men," I countered. "It's been a long time, but I know you guys. We went to high school together." Dash just continued to study me, dark brow raised. "You're very possessive," I replied, stating the obvious. "Baby doll, you have no idea," he countered, stepping to me and sliding my hair back from my face. It was wild and crazy and never stayed put, even in a sloppy ponytail. "Whether we do anything tonight or not, whether you let us get you naked and get you off, you are not sleeping in the damned airport. We're done here with our conference, and we'll see you safely home." While we were stuck in Minnesota for the night, we were all heading back to Bridgewater. I'd run into them at the gate, all 3 of us on the same flight, the canceled flight. I might have been born and raised in the small Montana town, but I left for college and rarely went back. Not with my crazy family. But my sister's wedding wasn't something I could avoid, so here I was, almost back to Bridgewater, not home. Dash and Jackson considered Bridgewater home, but I didn't. I didn't really have a home. I lived out of a suitcase, and lately it had been shoved underneath a narrow bed in a casa in Mexico. As a travel journalist, I didn't put down roots, especially in Bridgewater. The canceled flight was a reprieve, a delay in returning to my fighting parents, and every obvious reason why I kept leaving. While it might be December and Christmas was 2 weeks away, my family wasn't like a Norman Rockwell painting. I knew my parents wouldn't have a tree or any kind of holiday decorations. They didn't bother. They didn't bother to get along. "I won't spend the night at the airport. I won't turn down your hospitality. Besides, Jackson just had a hand up my shirt, and I think he left a hickey on my neck. I'm not sure how that's possible wearing a turtleneck." I grumbled, tugging at the high collar. "I think the chances are pretty good you're going to get lucky." A wild romp with 2 boys I had a crush on in high school, and by the look of them, they weren't boys any longer. No, at 27 they were all men, tall, broad-shouldered, muscled, no, chiseled. I wanted them, wanted to feel the weight of them pressing me into the bed, of me holding onto the headboard as they took me from behind, as they sucked my nipples, fingered my pussy, hell, licked it. I wasn't a virgin, and I wasn't going to pretend otherwise. I'd been with men I'd met traveling for work, men who meant nothing to me more than a quick orgasm. After watching my parents fight for my entire childhood, I had no idea what a real relationship could be like. If it was anything like theirs, I had no interest. That was why I enjoyed the physical, but that was it. No strings. No dating. My parents' marriage was completely abnormal for Bridgewater. Almost all marriages were solid. The husbands, yes, both of them, were possessive and very protective of their wife, affectionate, loving. My dad was nothing like that. Hell, he'd had a whole string of mistresses, and my mom ensured she wasn't lonely. Why they stayed together after almost 30 years, I had no idea. But it was like watching a car accident.